Representation of gender in the media has come a long way. For as long as we can remember, stereotypes have always been a part of television. Over the years, gender activists managed to raise awareness and open our eyes to the harmful effects of gender portrayal in the media. Numerous attempts have been made to promote equality between men and women and to eliminate discrimination. The implementation by corporate media regulators of various policies discouraging negative gender portrayal was a step in the right direction. But why is it that we still see gender stereotyping in the media today?
With the rise of third-wave feminism, the CRTC formed a task force in 1980 to address the ever-growing concern of gender portrayal in the media. This task force recommended a 2-year self-regulation trial period for broadcasting and advertising corporations to improve their portrayal of women in the media. The task force would then assess the effectiveness of their efforts. While the CRTC acknowledged that some progress had been made, they also stated that the effort had only been partially successful, and as a result implemented guidelines and policies to ensure elimination of these negative stereotypes. The implementation of Public Notice 1992-58 on gender portrayal required broadcasting and advertising media, including the CBC, also known as the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CAF, also known as the Canadian Advertising Foundation, and the CAB, also known as the Canadian Association of Broadcasters, to
show leadership in providing a more equal reflection and a better portrayal of women in the media, and to eliminate sex role stereotyping both on and off air through media representation. Furthermore, Advertising Standards Canada implemented the following policies and regulations concerning gender portrayal. Advertising should strive to provide an equal representation of women and men in roles of authority, both for the character within the actual advertising scenario and when representing the advertiser through announcer, voiceover, experts, or on-camera authorities. Women and men should be portrayed equally as single decision-maker, and where joint decision-making is reflected, men and women should be portrayed as equal participants. Advertising should avoid the inappropriate use or exploitation of sexuality of both women or men. Neither sex should be portrayed as exerting dominance over the other by means of overt or implied threat or actual force. Advertising should portray both women and men in the full spectrum of diversity and as equally competent in a wide range of activities both inside and outside the home. Advertising should avoid using language that misrepresents, offend, or exclude women. But despite the existence of these regulations, there's clearly a discrepancy in what the media corporations are required to do and what they actually do. Why is this so?
Broadcasting and advertising corporations are just like any other type of business. They aim to maximize their profits. Furthermore, it is also a known fact that sex sells. Edward McCabe, a professor from the University of Colorado, says it best when he explains simply that highly suggestive poses and semi-dressed models in media continue to sell products because they attract attention. According to Jean Kilbourne, a feminist author and filmmaker from Boston University, and Margaret Lazarus, an American film producer and director from Boston University, women's body parts are featured in print advertisements more often than their faces, whereas the reverse is true for men. According to David K. Dodd, a psychology professor from Washington University, while personality and intelligence are conveyed through images of faces, only attractiveness is portrayed through images of various body parts. Jean Baudouin, a professor of marketing and international business from City University of New York and Baruch College, and Heidi Coons, an English professor at Randolph College, argue that legal issues and the implementation of ethical policies do not appear to hinder behaviors of advertising companies. In fact, these complaints and policies simply seem to challenge advertising agencies to push the limits of the public. So why isn't the industry doing more to crack down on regulating what we see in magazines or watch on television?
Well, one theory has to do with the increasing competition between the different media sectors. specifically cable companies and internet. In an era that's beginning to shift more and more online, cable companies are struggling to keep viewers from exclusively using the internet to fulfill their entertainment needs. Unlike television, content regulations and restrictions hardly exist on the internet, making it easier for users to find exactly what they want, when they want it, and by paying next to nothing for it. Tim Arango, an American journalist and current Baghdad bureau chief for the New York Times, explains the internet's appeal over television. With the arrival of internet access as a mass consumer product in the 90s, users can acquire content and services independently of the network operators, a horizontal market structure. Furthermore, the business model of many internet content companies is a two-sided market. They acquire a downstream audience using either cheap or free content. Advertising is their primary revenue source, coming from the upstream side of brand owner and merchants.
Unlike the internet, users can't turn on the television at any hour of the day and watch exactly what program they want and when they want it. Due to strict regulations by the CRTC in Canada and the FCC in the United States, the television industry cannot simply broadcast porn at all hours of the day. Or, if they could, it would have to be broadcasted so that it would be restricted to people under 18 and most likely cost extra money on top of your monthly subscription. According to Diane Hofbauer, a law professor at Vanderbilt University, a two-tiered regulatory system exists today, with the FCC regulating areas of broadcast television and radio signal carriage, program exclusivity, channel capacity, cable casting, and operational procedures and requirements. Local authorities often regulate system design and capability, franchise selection, subscriber rates, systems performance and compliance, and operation of municipal channels.
Another reason could be that the media corporations are mostly controlled by men. Kathleen Hall Jamieson, a researcher for the Annenberg Public Policy Center, analyzed the 6 biggest media corporations in the United States in 2001 and found that women made up as few as 13% of the top executives, and only 9% of those were on a board of directors. This can cause problems as the influence of media conglomerates is enormous. As we mentioned earlier, media has the potential to shape our culture. Dennis Thompson, author of the book Discrimination in Popular Culture, explained that the media controls the agenda, deciding what shall be in the forefront of our minds and at the center of our hearts. Therefore, whoever controls the media could shape the messages we receive and what we will inevitably believe. Canadian communications scholar Michel Martin reinforced this argument by saying that media systems today serve as the instrument through which modern capitalism both produce and reproduce wealth, since in this it would not be in their interest to show diverse representation of men and women because it's easier to sell a unified single product that would reach the maximum number of people. She also argues that the situation could change and that a better balance of men and women at the executive level decision-making position could lower this misrepresentation. However, as we have mentioned, this is not the case at the moment, but there is potential for change over time.
The problem of gender stereotypes in media is a recurring problem in the media industries. All is not lost, though. There is already a theoretical base, political support, and policy in place to reduce these problems. The mechanisms are in place. They just need to be consolidated and enforced to ensure equal representation and the end of gender stereotypes in media.